Yo, 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 what's up, party people? Welcome to another episode of Thrive and Dive, thriving in life as we dive into deeper conversations. And I'm joined here by three very special friends, Joseph Nettles, David Adams, and Alex Silva. Let's go, round of applause. Yeah, so pumped to have you guys here. Well, if you've been a faithful Thrive and Diver on the channel, you might have noticed that we got a little bit of an upgrade with the audio. Hopefully, this is music to your ears as you hear this quality. And for all the haters who've said the audio has not been super good, you are right. The audio has not been super good. So I'm hoping that it is better now. And now we have the capacity to have 4 people on the channel sharing different topics here on Thrive and Dive. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and give a more formal introduction of these 3 strapping young men that have been on the channel before, but you're going to see their faces a little more often on Thrive and Dive. So first one to my right is the one and only Joseph Nettles. Bummer. Joseph Nettles, as many of you already know, he and I have known each other for a good while. He was a student of mine back when he went to the Masters Academy. Shout out to Masters Academy of Vero Beach. I was his high school Bible teacher. Now he's a student in what we call the Pathway School of Leadership. Shout out to Pathway Church, shout out to Pathway School of Leadership. And he's stuck with me for another so many years, however long he wants to be a part of the program, I guess.
Womp, womp.
Yeah, no, that's a cheering moment. Yeah. All right, so Joseph Nettles, anything you want to say to the Thrive and Divers, anything they should know about you, as if it's the first time meeting you, what's essential to know about you?
There's more to come.
There's more to come. Ooh, leave him on a cliffhanger over here. Yeah.
Cool.
All right, sweet. And next to Joseph Nettles, we have the David Adams. Yeah, man. Shout out to David Adams. He's been on the channel before, back on my other YouTube channel. And me and David, we go way back. Honestly, since the beginning of time, it feels like, David. Yes. I know. Wah, wah, wah. No, David and I have had the pleasure of playing soccer together on the same soccer team at Masters Academy. Shout out again to Masters Academy. We've been in the youth ministry for a while together as students and now as leaders, and super thankful for him. And the newest addition to our friendship is that we are roommates.
I watch him sleep at night.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So yeah, super thankful for David. David, anything you want to tell the Thrive and Divers that they should know about you or anything under the sun?
Yeah. Phrase that's been with me like the last week is that life is like Roblox.
Life is Roblox.
Oh gosh. All right. There you have it, David Adams. And then last but certainly not least, we have the Alex Silva. Yeah. Alex Silva was also a student of mine at the Masters Academy. And he was just on Thrive and Dive not too long ago. So if you've watched the episode, you know that he's very involved at his church. Shout out to Oceans Unite. And he is helping with a church plant, actually, in Okeechobee, which is pretty cool. So super thankful for him. Well, all 3 of these guys and myself share something in common. We have a love for the Lord, and we also are involved in different ministry aspects. We do other things as well, but we're all involved. All of us have preached before, and I would say for the most part, all of us have a pretty high IQ on just world things and spiritual things. So some smarty pants in the building.
Life is like Roblox.
All right, life is like Roblox. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and, well, first of all, if this is your first time, this is Thrive and Dive. We're thriving in life as we dive into deeper conversations. So there's two main purposes for this show. One is to show some people that hopefully are thriving in life. Hopefully you guys aren't at your wits' end or not thriving. But for the most part, when I see these gentlemen, they are always full of energy and joy and excitement. And that can be your reality as well. We want you to be thriving in life, not just surviving. So we pray and hope that the things that we share with you today can help you in that pursuit as you thrive in life. And to do that, we are going to dive into some deeper conversations. We're not saying we're experts by any means on these different topics. We just have some life experience. And then ultimately, we'll turn to the Bible because we believe in the authority of God's word as it is infallible and inerrant and is useful in every topic under the sun, even though it might not directly talk about every topic under the sun, chapter and verse. It does have principles that are very dynamic. So yeah, so as we dive into these deeper topics, we hope that you find them useful as we journey together. So there's 3 topics we're going to talk about today, boys. And I want to hear.
iPad case you got there.
The Chick-fil-A
Yes,
iPad case.
yes, the beautiful
12-year-old
pink.
girl.
Yes, this is actually the church's. So shout out to Pastor Nate for picking out the pink case, or maybe it was Emily. I don't know.
Is that Temple Run?
Temple Run, no, not Temple Run. It's the Notes app. All
Are
right,
you on Grinder?
Grinder. I'm not sure what that is.
Dating app.
Dating app, I figured, but is it the new Tinder or something?
Yeah, pretty
Something
much.
like that.
Okay, there you go. Sounds totally productive. All right, so the first topic today, boys, and we're just going to share whether it's testimonial, things that you've experienced, or if you have a thought just from your own opinion, or if you have a Bible verse even, sweet, awesome. Any of those 3 things, gentlemen. But the first thing I want us to talk about is ordering your private world in the busyness of life. Okay, so we are all busy individuals. Technically, everybody is busy. You could be busy doing things that are useful, or you could be busy wasting your time. So those who say they're busy, it's not really it's kind of a lame excuse for not doing something, because everybody has the same amount of time and energy for the most part. Time, yes, energy, that's dependent on your health and fitness. But so in the busyness of life, guys, we have to be careful that we do not burn ourselves out. And the number one way we do that is if we don't take care of our inner person. So you might not be a person of faith, but we are people of faith, and we believe that there's something called a soul, a heart, a spirit, not your actual organ heart, that is super important to your life and everything you do. And if you do not take care of this central part of who you are, then you are going to collapse at some point, or find your wits' end, or hit rock bottom. And I bring this conversation pointer up, this topic, because of a book that I'm currently reading, gentlemen, given to me by the one and only Pastor Nate Swearingen. Shout out to Pastor Nate if you're watching this episode. I don't know if you ever watch my Thrive and Dive episodes, but if you are, thank you for your resource. So the book is called Ordering Your Private World by an author named Gordon MacDonald. So I just want to give credit where credit is due. This is why the topic came to mind, and all the insights I'm personally going to share is going to mostly come from that book. What they share might be from something else. So, yeah. And there's no particular order on who starts this, gentlemen. But what do you guys do to help take care of your inner soul, your inner being, your inner person, so that you do not collapse or burn out or hit rock bottom?
That sounds like a question for Joe.
Sounds like a question for Joe. Yes, let's go. Joe, do you want to give a response to this question?
I guess I don't have a choice, do I?
Yeah,
It's
kind of on the spot now. It'd be a little awkward if you drop now.
Yeah. So I guess the way I keep my private life in order, along with my soul, is this idea of as much as you pour out, you need to be poured in. So as I attend PSL, or the Pathway School Leadership, I do a lot of pouring out, but at the same time, I have a lot of mentors above me that pour into me, that give me life, that teach me the word, that guide me in my life as I walk through my relationship with Christ, that keep me in order and keep me in check. I call them accountability partners. It's a fancy, churchy word, but basically they just keep me in order. They keep me in check, make sure I got all my shoes on the shelf, or shoes on the rack, basically.
He's got a lot of them.
Yeah, a lot of shoes. But yeah, basically it's just the idea of that as much as I'm being poured into, I also need to pour out, because if I'm just being poured into and I'm not actually like pouring out any, then I'm just kind of wasting potential, I guess potential things that I could be doing for others, or for the kingdom, for the glory of God. And it's kind of a waste, but through being poured in, I have the opportunity to pour out and make a positive effect on others' lives and their relationship with Christ, and even my own relationship with Christ. So I guess that's kind of like how I apply that.
Love it, Joseph. So how I've heard it said, and the way you've said it, is that, picture life as a glass, right? And the more you pour in, it provides you more opportunities to pour out. If your glass gets empty, you really can't pour out anything from an empty glass. So that's why we got to make sure there's a balance between serving, sharing with people, doing things that require energy, and also getting proper times where you're getting refilled. How people get refilled is kind of dependent on person to person. It might be an activity, a hobby you enjoy doing. All of us can be refilled through being in God's word and in prayer. Those are some mainstream ways for sure. But if you're trying to pour out of an empty bucket, then you're going to burn out or real quick. And then, as you mentioned, Joseph, some of us have very full buckets, right? You have a lot of information, a lot of knowledge, a lot of things to share. Honestly, this is one of the reasons why I created this YouTube channel, is because I want to be a good steward of the information I've been given, right? I grew up in a Christian home, went to a Christian school, I have a lot of information, but if I don't share with other people, it's kind of useless, right? So we also don't want to have a full bucket and never pour out. That's a waste of potential. And that's the opposite of burning out, is rusting out. You're rusty, crusty, you're kind of useless to the world. So
Dusty, musty.
Dusty,
So
musty.
my
Yeah.
question is then, like, I mean, I live with you, so I know how busy you are with everything.
Mhm.
What do you do then to recharge?
Oh man, got a flipperoni on me. Okay.
You thought you were just gonna ask questions.
Well, I wanted to hear you first.
asking a lot of questions.
Yeah, I love it. No. What do I do, David? It's a good question.
Hangs out with me.
Hangs out with, yeah, honestly, no, you hang out with good people.
Because you are always busy. Like, you have a lot of stuff going on.
Sure. Yeah. It's definitely the busyness that you see me in right now is seasonal. For those who don't know, I work at a church, Pathway Church, mentioned it a couple times, and also work at a school called Masters Academy. And I'm full-time at the church and part-time at the school. Originally, I was only part-time in both, so that was manageable. But now I'm in a season where I'm full-time and part-time, so working 50-plus hours a week. And so, yeah, it's seasonal. It's
Plus
definitely
school, right?
Plus school, yep. Working on a master's degree. So one, it helps being single. Just being honest, right? Don't have a whole lot of responsibilities I'm tied down to. But also it is seasonal. This is definitely not manageable long term. If I had to do this year in and year out, then yeah, I'd definitely burn out pretty quick. And also it helps that I have a good boss. Shout out to Pastor Nate. He's very cognizant of He's all right. Yeah. He's very cognizant of my workload, which I really appreciate in a leader, knowing the capacity I have and also the responsibilities I have. So that's helpful. But then, yeah, spending time in the Word sounds kind of cliche, but I make it a daily discipline to wake up 2 hours earlier than the next function I have. So I know that 2 hours is a perfect amount of time for me to spend quality time with the Lord and not feel rushed, and also to be fully energized and awake, so that when I do go into work, my first interaction is not with a person, because my first interaction was already with the Lord for a couple minutes at least. So those are kind of just off the top of my head ways that I take care of my soul. And then once a week I go see the sunrise and spend an extended amount of time in solitude. I think that's important, beyond the 30 minutes a day with the Lord. Spend a longer time in a place that's comfortable, in a place that's distraction free, and that's personal to me. So does that answer your question, David?
It was beautiful.
Oh, thank you. With that being said,
Just like the sunrises.
beautiful like the sunrises, yes. Yeah. Your sunrise surfing and things like that. You guys gotta go see a sunrise, whether you're a morning person or not. Sunrises are very rejuvenating. I don't
Hate
know
the
what's
rest
about
of
them.
your day, but in the moment you love it.
Yeah. The
Or
rest
just,
of
you
rest
know,
of
just
your day
go
sucks.
back to sleep after.
Yeah, that is true. Wake up, see sunrise, and just go right back to bed. There you go. David, what about you, brother? What do you do to rejuvenate your soul, make sure that you are healthy, spiritually speaking?
Well, a big thing for me is I love nature, and usually that's when I feel closest to God. So as of more recently, I've been getting more into surfing. And me and Joe have been going out quite a bit. And what was it, like Thursday, Friday, something like that? We went at sunset, and that was so nice. Just like seeing the sun or the sunset, and then having the moon, because it was a full moon,
Yeah.
glisten on the water. I just like took it in for a couple moments, just like stopped surfing, just like thought about how pretty it was and that God made it all.
He was
So-
also cramping.
that was another day. I got off of work. I think it was Saturday, because I got off of work and I was eating a Philly cheesesteak as I'm driving to the beach.
Okay.
And I was like, this is not a good idea. I don't have any water or anything. And then I got in the water, and as soon as I started surfing, my legs started cramping. So, yeah, that wasn't the best. But yeah, like I said, nature has always been the biggest thing for me. Is just like sitting down somewhere where it's quiet. I guess kind of like what you do with sunrise.
Yep.
That's always been a big thing to me. I mean, like just a social energy and stuff like that. I'm a pretty sociable guy. But like when I get home, like usually I don't talk that much. Like when you're there, like sometimes we'll talk, but like I usually just take myself in the house and just
It's your time to decompress.
just kind of I guess decompress is a good word.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't really need whole lot of time. I go crazy if I'm at the house all day. I legit haven't spent a day at home
Yeah.
like in years. That kills me.
No, right on.
Yeah.
Solid, David. And last but not least, Alex, what do you do to rejuvenate your soul, to take care of your spirit, your
Rejuvenate
inner
my soul.
man?
Kombucha.
I make it myself. No, I think just kind of like what you said. Where I find most of my rest is like when I pray, and it's not just like the only like I do have my time where I set aside for God throughout the day, but I also have like obviously God is our friend, so I spend most of my day talking to God. Like just like as I'm working or as I'm doing this, like I'll just like, just talk to God, just like He's there because He is, just about like what's going on, like with work or with church or something. I'll just start yapping, pretty much, and I feel like that just gives me some peace too about just like, just keeping God involved in my day, like inviting Him to do things with me, because it's like then what's the point without Him? So like might as well just bring Him with me, and just do things with Him, because then you never know what's gonna happen. But I think just having like a set time like every day to just spend with God is like what keeps me going, because like I'm a busy person, and I think it's because I like to be busy. Like David said, I don't like sitting at home and doing nothing. Like I'm always doing something. If I have a day off, like I'm going somewhere or doing something, or unless I need to stay home and do stuff. But like I'm always trying to keep my schedule busy, because I don't like just sitting around doing nothing. So that's why like I do find it hard to always just like sit down and relax, because I just like to do stuff. So I just in my moments find God in throughout the day.
Do you, like you said, you like plan out of time? Do you do that because like you are bad at making time for it, or because you're like a very like schedule oriented person?
Well, when I say plan out of time, like I have us like at least like an hour, like in my day.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter when. Like sometimes I'll do it in the morning, because it's good to wake up in the morning and pray. It talks about it in Psalm 63. But
It's got references.
but usually I do in the afternoon. Like when I get home from work and I just like I'm done with the day, I'll just spend time with God. Just make sure I have like that set time. It doesn't have to be like, because it changes every day, to be honest. Like when I do it, sometimes I don't get to it until like later in the day, like sometimes like 9, 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
But like I always try to just do it because it's like, it's not just because I have to, because I want to, because I need to. If I'm gonna keep going and make it through the next day, or if I'm having a difficult time or even a good time, it's just always beneficial for me to spend time with the Lord.
It's good. So Alex kind of already answered this question, but I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts, Joseph and David. So we're talking about taking care of our souls, and it sounds like we're all doing a good job doing things at the start of the day, in the middle of the day. I loved how you said, Alex, bring Jesus, I'm paraphrasing, bring Jesus with you. Don't let your time with the Lord be segregated from the rest of your life. No, bring him along, let him be a part type thing. So Alex kind of already alluded to it, but for me, guys, like when it comes to taking care of my soul, I do a good job in the morning. I think it's I'm a morning person. That helps. I do a good job during the day. But for me, it's so hard to unwind at the end of the day. Like, to use an analogy, the plane is operating and it's in full gear. I'm 3,000 feet in the air, enjoying life. It's awesome. My takeoff is great, but my landing sucks. I don't know how to land the plane at the end of a day. And usually those are the worst times of my day, whether I'm feeling most discouraged or maybe temptation is the strongest. And I just don't know how to land the plane and start a new day. It doesn't help that sometimes I can't fall asleep. So I'm curious, how do you guys take care of your soul from start to finish? How do you end off the day? And Sylvia, you already mentioned that you spend some time in prayer and the word, and maybe that's something I need to take up. But anything more to add to that? And all three of you, how do you guys unwind the day and land the plane?
Joe?
Yeah, I was gonna go. It's not because you volunteered me, I promise.
Yeah.
So I'm very much like chaos at nature. I don't plan. I'm just running gun type. So for me, I definitely relate to what James is saying. Is that idea is like sometimes it's the landing, but sometimes for me it's also like the takeoff. Like depending on like my morning or my night, I will either do my quiet time or my alone time with God either in the morning or nighttime, and it's because I don't set a time for God. Well, I do, but like. I never stick to it because I'm so bad at planning. So it's like if I wake up early enough, I will. But for me, I don't want to rush that time because I can wake up and technically have my quiet time with God for 10 minutes, but that's not going to be very fulfilling to my soul. It's not going to rejuvenate me for the day. If anything, it's just going to be rushing that time. And then my mind's just going to tell me, all right, you've done it for the day. You don't need to do it anymore. And that's not very productive. So sometimes I do have a rough takeoff, but also sometimes I do have a rough landing, depending on when I do my quiet time, when I read. But for me, most of the time, I'm pretty good about waking up and doing my quiet time. But for me, landing the plane looks different. I'm very active, same way with these guys. I hate going and doing nothing with my day. So, like, for me, a good winding is, like, just chilling at home, doing nothing. And it sounds weird, but there's nothing more relaxing than just spending time in my room when it's dark. Just not-
Watching Instagram reels.
That's it. Yeah. But there's nothing more fulfilling than just being in my room, like laying in my bed and just realizing how much I've like accomplished in my day. Even if it's nothing been like that big, but just realizing the things that I've accomplished, and not because I accomplished them, but through God's guidance in my life and others pouring into me, the amount of stuff that I've been able to accomplish, and the fact that without God and having a relationship with God, the fact that I do set a time with Him, the fact that I do spend my time in relation with Him, that I am able to accomplish some of those things. And for me, it's a good wind down because I don't have the best sleep. I don't sleep the best, so I'm up anyways. So for me, I do spend a lot of time just in talk with God because I got nothing better to do anyways. So.
No. Oh, the mic was so close to me. Whoa. Who put it there? But that's a good point. The hardest parts when it comes to taking care of our souls, either taking off or landing. For me, it's definitely landing. And you mentioned both can sometimes be a struggle. And I wouldn't say I'm perfect at taking off, but you guys want to add anything, David?
David?
David, you got this.
I never really thought about it like as a. It's an interesting point as like a takeoff or your landing. Which one's better? Which one's worse? I mean, you know this, James. I wake up pretty late. But
I'm landing by the time
1 p.m.
I know he's landing by the time I'm taking off.
Yeah, for
or
real.
the other way around.
So I would guess that's probably like my harder part because like it's not consistent. So sometimes I'll wake up at like 11, or sometimes I'll wake up at 6 when I'm going surfing, or I'll wake up at 1.
Yeah. How do you stay
If I don't have to do
healthy?
it.
Your sleeping habits are so different.
I just sleep when I'm tired.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
It's that easy.
That easy.
But I mean, you mentioned something, and I didn't think to mention it either. I try and pray in everything that I do through the day. So especially at work, like I know once I get to work, I go and find some place to hide, and then I'll just clear my mind and pray that God would just be with me through the shift. And I always pray, whether it's a good shift or a bad shift, Lord, that you would just give me the strength and the will to carry through it and be a light to those that I work with, because a lot of the people that I work with aren't saved. And I think the biggest thing for me is always just being thankful in everything. Like I said, even if it's a good or a bad shift, if I make money, if I don't, to be thankful in every opportunity that I'm given, whether it's work, whether it's being able to like go out and surf and see the sunset, or going out and rock climbing with this guy or some other people. I always just try and be thankful. And I think that's a big thing when it comes to feeding your soul, because when you're always thankful, the negatives seem so much less of a deal. If you can be thankful when things aren't going well, or for instance, if I don't make any money a certain night when I'm serving, but I'm still thankful for the money that I do have, or that I have the ability to serve, or the other nights where I made a lot of money, it doesn't mean anything then at that point, because I know I'm trusting God. I might not have made a bunch of money, and I might be wondering, all right, what's my paycheck gonna look like at the end of the week? But being thankful and trusting God, I'm just like, that's not a worry of mine. So I think a lot of the worries, and I've only realized this, a big difference in my life, maybe the last couple of months, but like always just being thankful gets rid of almost all your worry. Like I've got some things coming up in the next couple of weeks, but I'm not really worried about it, even though it can be a worrisome thing for other people. I'm just like, I hope it goes well, but if it doesn't, that's part of God's plan, and I'll be thankful either way, if it turns out or if it doesn't.
That's good. I mean, Thanksgiving is like the natural medicine, if you will, that God gives us to contentment and things like that. I mean,
Yeah.
Paul says in Philippians 4, chapter 4, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, in prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, present your requests to the Lord.
Yeah.
You miss this Thanksgiving part? Yeah. That's why we have so many anxious people. I'm not trying to be a doctor here. A lot of them are anxious because they ain't thankful. That's for sure. Yeah. They're envious and they're jealous and they want more. So, yeah. Alex, you kind of already mentioned it, but anything you want to add to the winding down question I had?
Yeah, I think it's like, or for me personally, when I wind down, it's because I get home and I'm usually done. Like I'm just like I'm tired
You're
when I
spent.
get home.
You spend it all.
No, but like David said, I kind of go to bed when I'm tired. I do try to like when I get home and like if I have time, like I'll try to spend it with God, or I'll try to do something like productive with my time instead of just sitting and scrolling through Instagram Reels, because that does happen sometimes.
Center.
Wasting time.
No wasting time. No,
Not playing.
but I think when I, like Joseph was saying, if I feel accomplished with my day, then like I think it's like it's it's a good time to end it. And sometimes I'm tired. Sometimes I go to bed at 9:30. Sometimes I go to bed at 1. It just depends on the day.
We're
Yeah.
all going to die soon. That's what we realize. Our sleep
Yeah,
schedules
Sleep
are
is
terrible.
overrated.
Yeah.
I think I'm not a morning person at all. I hate the
Amen.
morning. I have to wake up early a lot though, which sucks. But so I like to end my day like with God, because I usually don't do it in the morning because I don't ever wake up on time.
Yeah.
But so I'll spend that time like right before I go to bed, or just like just like talking to God, or
He's looking at Instagram
Yeah.
Reels.
I was about to say, really on Instagram.
I'll get
This guy.
bored.
Sorry, this guy's yapping over
Oh,
here.
he's
hurry
ready
up,
to
Alex.
land. He's ready to land.
Wrong one. Anyway. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah, I think just starting and ending your day with God, or just taking your mind off things, is probably the most helpful. Because I feel like when I get home and I've got a lot to think about, I'm like, I'm just gonna leave this for the morning.
Yeah.
Or like if I have to do something early, I'm just like, I don't need to worry about it right now.
It's good. It's good.
Today's problems are for today, and tomorrow's problems are for tomorrow.
Yeah, those are good mental boundaries, and
Yeah.
honestly, this could be. I actually would love to talk about this as another topic for another episode. Is what does it actually mean to take captive every thought and make it obedient to Christ? What does that look practically speaking? So, you're demonstrating that that's what you do at the end of your day. You take thoughts captive, right? I don't need to be thinking about this task or this thing till tomorrow. Boom. A lot of people just fester and stay awake because of tomorrow's troubles, and it's just like, all right, you need to put it to bed type thing. So. Yeah, so a final thought I want to share on this topic before we switch gears. I referenced this book by Gordon MacDonald, Ordering Your Private World. I just want to leave you guys with this final thing. He talks about our inner life, our soul, to use an illustration, as a garden, right? I don't know if you guys are into gardening at all. Alex, do you garden?
I live on a
My mom
farm.
gardens.
Joe?
Yeah. There you go. And he talks about how you got to cultivate, you got to take care of your soul. If you don't, it's going to be overgrown. And he says this, and it really captured me. I read this morning. He says, the inner garden, so your soul, is a delicate place. And if not properly maintained, it will be quickly overrun by intrusive undergrowth. God does not often walk in disordered gardens. Let me say that again. God does not often walk in disordered gardens. And that is why inner gardens that are ignored are said to be empty, right? So if you're saying, man, I did not experience the work of the Lord in my life, but when's the last time you actually took care of your soul? You got to see the disconnect there, right? I don't see God working mightily in my life. I don't feel his presence. Well, if you don't spend time working on your soul, I'm sorry, there's nothing that's going to really help that. That's why we got to be so intentional. And God's not legalistic to where he's not going to enter your life until you get it right. He's going to help you in that. But if you are doing nothing to help care for your soul, then don't be surprised when God doesn't do a mighty work in your life. And and I could read more from this, but I don't want to spend the whole time reading from a book. You guys can read it for yourself. So taking care of your soul. And then one last thing, hopefully you guys noticed from what they shared, taking care of your soul is so like, man, you got to know what you're into and you're passionate about, right? Sometimes when I was a kid, I thought of, just taking care of my soul is just going to church, reading and praying, which are very important. I don't want to minimize that. But did you guys hear all the different activities they're into that God put in their heart and their passion, right? We're talking about rock climbing, we're talking about surfing, we're talking about pickleball, all these different things. Engage in those things God has given you a passion for. That's a big part of it. And don't separate it like as if church, prayer, Bible are sacred things and all these other things are secular. Everything's sacred. Super important to identify that.
Well, I think also, like, I didn't think about it either, but just hanging out with Christian friends can be also very helpful to your soul.
Oh, yeah.
Just kind of relax. Because, like, I just thought about it when you were talking about, like, pickleball and stuff like that. Like, just, like, going out and hanging out with people that are all trying to follow God. And it's just, like, there's no no drama or just like nothing bad happening.
It's good.
It is very like soothing to your soul and just kind of rejuvenates you if you've had like a bad week at work. I think that's just even for anybody. If you just hang out with friends, it's can be rejuvenating. And so, especially for a Christian, I think it's very important that we hang around those people that pour life to you and give your life meaning.
That's good.
There's a saying, don't know who it's by, I don't even know if it's a Christian, but it's like, show me your friends, I'll show you your future.
Oh, was that Kanye West?
Unfortunately.
Sounds like
Could
it.
have been. Sounds like
But
it.
Yeah.
just that idea of the people you surround yourself with will obviously make an impact on your life. So
That's good.
as Christians, we want to surround ourselves with fellow Christians that have like-minded beliefs because they have the biggest impact on us. They're the people we spend our time with the most. Hopefully you spend most time with Jesus, but second most time.
Absolutely. Love it, Joe. So hopefully you can find some practical things to take from this and start ordering your private world. Take care of the garden of your soul. If you don't, it's going to be overgrown and life's going to be a mess.